As some of y'all probably already noticed, we are in my amazing studio in Brighton, which also happens to be my bedroom. I'm a superstar on a budget, what can I do? And this is basically where I made the whole bloody song, all by myself, mind you. For me, it is a little bit crazy to think that I managed to make this song in my own bedroom. And I'm not trying to say like, oh, I made this absolutely perfectly. Studio version that, you know, whatever, fucking Phineas or Mark Ronson would be jealous of. I do have a little bit of modesty actually, believe it or not, bitch. It would be crazy for me to think a few years ago that I would be able to, you know, do as much as I can do right now. It's been a journey, let me say just that, because it's just crazy to think that a song could really be made with not that much technically. Because you think of music production, you think of those huge studios with crazy computers and expensive software and hardware, and you don't need that much to make a decent song, I would say. Again, I'm not trying to do it my own horse, it's like, oh, I made a perfect song all by myself in this shitty bedroom with shitty acoustics and a cheap laptop. Like, I'm trying to actually be modest, guys, just give that to me, please. But yeah, just to give you an idea of how did I do it and what equipment did I use my old Dell. I don't know the names of the products exactly. I will try to do my research and I will try to put the bloody captions underneath. Don't come at me. So I have my, you know, Dell laptop that cost me about 600 quid. It's not perfect. I do have some bad issue with the CPU, but I managed to find ways to just work around it, because that's technically what you do. Just find ways to make it work for you. And I'm trying to adjust my boobs over here, but because they're kind of getting into my skin. Don't notice that. The software I'm using is also Studio One, which is probably not the DAW that a lot of producers would use, but is the one I have because it is the cheapest one. No, I do remember starting with just the free version of Studio One, because they do have a free version called Studio One Prime. But after a while, I did remember on St. Paddy's Day a few years back, there was a discount on the arts version, which is obviously, it has much more options and has a lot of support for plugins. So I did buy that and it's been great. I've been learning to work with it. I did manage to learn a whole bunch of stuff. I figured out, as I said, I can actually use third-party plugins to change stuff, and it's been great because you can just go online and look up all those different plugins for free. There's lots of that can do it for free. I believe every plugin that I used for Curtain Call was free, and I managed to make it work. And as I said, there are limitations with the CPU, because when you're using a DAW and then you have a lot of instruments going on, and because this is a pop song, obviously you're gonna have a lot of instruments going on, the CPU is basically gonna get set on fire. It's gonna burn. It's gonna melt your brain. It's gonna explode in your face. But I figured out there are ways to work with this. Just save audio instead of the DAW file. Just store it somewhere for now if you want to change it. It's again, you find ways to work through it. This microphone from Rode, I believe it was 200 quid. Great sound. And it has a pop shield as well, so beautiful. Then you also have the PreSonus thingamajiggy that I can't remember to use. You need this to plug your microphone to. Again, from PreSonus, so it's the same guys that made Studio One. So yeah, I did make music beforehand, and I did use different things. As I said, I started with just the free version of Studio One. I only used the instruments that came with the free version of Studio One, and let me tell you, honey, they weren't great. They were shitty at best, and absolutely fucking horrible at worst. So if you can work with cheap products, the moment you get the more expensive products, honey, it's gonna be a dream come true. For my lyrics, for my songwriting process, I don't think I usually have this thing that I deliberately go and sit down and then start the song like that. I don't think I ever started a song that turned out good that way, which I don't know if it's a good thing or it's a bad thing, because I do believe that if you are a good songwriter, you should be able to sit down and find the inspiration for music when you want to find inspiration for music, which is not always the case with me. For me, it's just plenty of times I just do something else and then suddenly just this melody comes into my head, or this lyric, or I see something written down and I was like, oh, that would be a good theme for this. And then as I work, because I do a lot of walking at my work, it's just and I'm very bored at my work, it just comes to me, and then sometimes it's just like that, and the song is done. The song is there, it's existent, and I need to work more on it. I vividly remember just walking around and one day just going na 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 na. I was like, oh my god, that's a great hook. Like I should definitely use it. And then I did have this idea earlier, much earlier, which I'm gonna get to in another episode in more detail. I already had this idea of my experience with Brad. Anyway, I had an idea of wanting to turn it into an allegory for this performance thing, so it kind of just put one and one together, work a little bit on that. Another thing I also want to add to my songwriting process is don't be afraid to use thesaurus, I don't actually know what's pronounced. Don't be afraid to use it if you want to sound a little bit more sophisticated or well outspoken. People don't care. Just don't overdo it. People will know. Okay, people will know if you overdo it. Or I go to rhyme zone if I just can't think of a good rhyme. And not everything has to rhyme anyway, so either go to rhyme zone or don't rhyme at all, just pick one or the other. As for the instrumentalization, I do believe most of the sounds are just it's just synthesizers. It's lots of synth sounds, synth pads, synth leads, synth bass. I think the only instrument that's actually not synth or electronic are the strings. By the end of the song, which you're gonna hear probably, or at the piano by the end, you're gonna hear that, whatever. I'm not gonna get into more details because I don't want to spoil the song to you. At the time, I am pretty sure that all of those plugins were free, so I didn't spend a penny on the plugins. I don't remember exactly what they were. I can't check right now because I'm recording, and while I'm recording I can't go to the other project because my recording will be all fucked up. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you a link to my plugins that I used down in the description, so make sure to check it out if you want to write your own stuff. Look, more artists the better, except for the competition, but nobody's a competition to Jodi Summer. Anyway, I think I've rambled on about my songwriting and production process long enough, so all I'm gonna say is if you enjoyed this video, just make sure to give it a big thumbs up, subscribe, and to ring the bell, and make sure that you're ready for the next episodes of Final Curtain Countdown. Until then, ciao!